Hi there, and welcome to Ehlke Art. Thank you so much for joining us on our channel. We are so happy to have you here. If you are liking these videos, please hit the like button and subscribe down below so that you'll be notified when we have more videos coming up. All right, are you in the Christmas spirit yet? I've got my Christmas sweater on. Feliz Navidad! Today I'm doing a Christmas video, and it's one of my favorite characters from Christmas movies. This guy is pretty silly, and my kids get a kick out of the things that he does in his movie. This is Buddy the Elf. This is my first time drawing him. I had a lot of fun trying to get it to look like him, of course. Do you think I did it? Do you think it looks like Buddy? I think he looks pretty much like him. So yeah, try it out. If you want to try something similar, follow along step by step in this video tutorial, and maybe you can draw Buddy as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you later. I'm going to start with kind of a wavy line, and it's going to be a little bit above the center of my picture. And I want, let's see, for it to go from this point to about this point here. That's going to be the width of the head. So I'm going to kind of make it look like a cloud, like that. Then I'm going to bring the sides of the head down just a little bit on both sides. And then I'm going to go down to the cheeks on both sides. And then the chin I want to be right about here. So I'm going to make sure to curve that up and attach it to the sides of the cheeks. All right, next I'm going to start with the mouth. And the chin kind of has this little section right here, and the mouth is right above that. So for the mouth, I'm going to make a line that's kind of a slight smile, like so, and then has these little curves on the ends where the mouth meets the cheek. And then the nose would be right above that, and I usually start with just a real little curve like that, and then I'm going to bring it out and around on the sides. Got that nice little curve. Then the nose will kind of come up to about here, and his eyes are actually pretty close together, and I'm going to kind of exaggerate them just a little bit. And they're very round in this drawing, so I'm going to make them pretty close to his nose and more round than I usually make eyes. Then I'm going to make the eyeball kind of along the bottom section of the eye. And then the black part of his eye will go right here, and I want to leave just a little bit of a highlight inside of the black section of his eyes, like so. Next, I'm going to add some eyebrows, and the one on this side is going up just a little bit, so I wanted to make that up and then kind of add the top part of the eyebrow like that. And then this one's a little bit more flat, so have it kind of going flat across and then down a little bit, and poof it up here on the top like that. I'm going to add a little line right here and right here, and I think I'm going to leave that. Maybe I'll add a little bit of a line in the forehead here above his eyebrows like that. All right. Next, I'm going to do the bottom of his ears, and they should actually be about the same as where the nose is. So I'm going to make the bottom of this ear like that, and then I'll go ahead and do the same thing for the bottom of this ear as well. All right, for the hair, we've got all these curls to work with, so I'm going to go ahead and finish that out. I'm starting just a little bit above these curls, and I'm adding kind of those wavy cloud-like lines that go around the head, and they're going to meet down here right below the ears. So if it's easier maybe to start kind of below the ears and curl up like that to meet the hair, sometimes that's easier, so you know kind of where you're going. And then I'm also going to put a couple curls right in front of his ears here, so it looks like they are tucked in under his hair. All right, we need, of course, the elf hat. So I'm going to start with a dot about the center above his head, and then it's going to go straight down one side like that, and then the other side like this. To have the hat, there's a nice yellow stripe on it, so I'm going to make it curved so it looks like it's a rounded hat. And then it has this little red feather that sticks up, so I'm just going to kind of draw the lines to indicate the little red feather that he has popping out of his hat. All right, next is the neck. And I'm going to go ahead and draw a line. It's just a little bit in from his cheek for the neck. And I'm not making it too long because he has a nice white collar that we're going to add. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a line down here for where the top part of the collar is. And then the collar actually curves around up behind his neck. So I'm going to kind of make this a little bit fluffy looking, give it a little bit of texture by not making the line super straight here. And then there's a section right in here where the collar kind of makes an upside down V. So I'm going to go ahead and do that section like that. And then I can kind of curve these around to meet up. So I'm going to go ahead and curve those like so, and curve these like so to give him his nice collar. I'm going to add a line for where his zipper is down the front part of his clothes. And then he has this kind of fancy design that's going down. So I'm just going to kind of make these scribble type lines to show the design because I don't want to get too caught up in the fanciness. All right, his shoulders just go out a little bit from his collar like that, and then they can go kind of down like that. And there you have Buddy the Elf. Now, of course, I like to color, so I'm going to go ahead and color him in to bring him to life. I'm going to start with the face color, and right now I just want to get his entire face all the same color to start off with. I'm using just kind of a peachy color, and I'm also going to use that for his neck as well. But I do want to add just a little bit of shading so that it makes it look a little bit more exciting and not quite so flat here. So after I add all of the peachish color to his face and his ears as well, I'm going to go ahead and switch to like maybe a light brown. And I just want to add a little bit of shading kind of along the edges of his face, like this, just to kind of make it pop out a little more so it's not all the same. And then especially down by his neck, because that would not be getting as much of the light, so I want to make the neck a little bit darker. And that kind of brings his face forward. And then I also like to do this kind of, he's got like this section under his nose that I want to make a little bit darker. And kind of on the sides of his mouth here, I can kind of darken this part of the chin a little bit. So just kind of finding areas that I can make a little bit darker so that makes him kind of stand out a little more. It's got kind of an interesting face shape. Usually the cheeks are pretty light. Under the eyes can be a little bit darker, so I might add a little bit of dark right there. And then kind of right along the nose, I'll go a little bit darker too. Usually the tip of the nose I like to keep really light, so I might even make kind of a shaded circle around that so that I make sure not to shade that in when I'm doing all the shading stuff on his face. So he's got a little bit of dark too right up by his hair, because some of his face is kind of getting the shadow from his hair. So I just wanted to kind of darken that in a little bit too. And then, of course, I will work on his hair and eyebrows with kind of a darker brown too. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to color his eyebrows in with kind of this darker brown. And he does have a little bit of kind of gold in his hair, so I don't want to miss out on some of that. I might even put a little bit of that into his eyebrows too. Just throw kind of some goldish color in there as well. Mix that with some of the brown. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with his hair. Just get kind of the main color in first, and then I'll kind of pick some areas to go a little bit darker, a little bit more gold, so that it makes him really come to life. I'd say it's already definitely looking like him. Cartoon version of him, at least. I wasn't going for super realistic, but more just kind of a fun, illustrative version of Buddy the Elf. So I'm coloring all of this in just with my plain brown, and then I'll find some areas that are darker, usually kind of the corners over here, a little bit darker. Behind the ear and under the ear would be a little bit darker, so I'm pushing harder in those areas to kind of give it a little bit more shading. Next to the face is usually a little bit darker, and that kind of helps frame the face too. Kind of darken some of these curls that are on the top part of his head here. So I'm just trying to get all this area filled, and then nice and colorful. If you want it, you can actually make kind of circular coloring so that it looks like he's got curly hair. That's kind of fun to do too. I'm going to add some gold too, since he does have some gold in his hair. Same type of thing, just kind of throwing a little bit of gold ringlets in here to kind of lighten up some of the areas. And these colored pencils are a nicer quality, so they can blend pretty well. Sometimes those basic sets of colored pencils don't do a whole lot with blending, but you can always try it out and see. So definitely have some gold there. That looks nice. While I've got the gold in my hand too, I'm going to go ahead and color in the top part of his little hat here. It has a gold stripe, so I'm going to color that part nice and bright with the gold. And I'm going to add some gold to this little detail here. And again, I did not follow the design exactly. You can kind of just get the idea. Didn't want to get too fancy there. All right, now I need the green, which is just like a nice solid Christmassy green. It's a little more yellowy green. We'll try this one and see how this one looks. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and color that nice and bold for his hat. And then also right above his hair is green. So I want that to be nice and bold as well. And I want to add, of course, the green to his shirt, or the top part. So I'm gonna go ahead and color lots and lots of green in here. Speed color. And I do need to be more careful along my edges, so go in and make my edges look nice and neat. Oh, it's definitely looking like Buddy the Elf. Do you have a favorite part of that movie? I know my kids and I love when he is eating and he's got the spaghetti with all of the candy and syrup. Oh, we love watching that part. That is just wild. I also like how he decorates everything with all the snowflakes. Makes it everything so festive. Pretty fancy decorator, which is cool. So I could just leave the coat like this and not do any shading, and I think I might, just to keep it simple. But if you wanted to and you had maybe a darker green, you could shade some of the edges just to kind of bring it forward a little bit more. But I'm kind of just liking it, the solid green. Maybe I'll add just a little bit of some darker green just to kind of show you what I mean. So like if you wanted to shade something, you could kind of go in here, maybe with a little bit of a darker shade of green. I don't even know if that was the best one. I could even go like a darker green in here, just to kind of show the shadow of the collar. And this kind of area is a little bit darker too, so I could kind of darken that up. You could do it just along the edges of the jacket or the shirt that he wears to kind of give it a little bit more depth. It doesn't have to be too fancy. I'm just trying to keep it simple. And the hat too, you could just kind of go in a little bit from the edges with a darker green just to add a little bit of shading. And that kind of just makes it pop forward a little bit. All right, we still have his eyes, which are a pretty bright blue. So I'm just gonna find a nice blue color pencil and go ahead and color his eyes nice and blue so those stand out. And then we also need the little feather in his hat. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the red feather. So let's see, I'll probably use this red here for the feather in his hat. And that is pretty cute. Okay, what do you think? I'm thinking I like it. The last step would be to just add a little bit of shading to his collar. Even though it's white, I like to just kind of add a little bit of color. So I'm just using a blue, and I'm just kind of going along the edge, and I'm really trying to press lightly to give it just a little bit of interest kind of along the edges here so that it doesn't just blend in with the background. So there you have it, Buddy the Elf. If you haven't watched it lately, I recommend you do so. It is such a fun movie and is great to get you in the Christmas spirit if that's what you're hoping for. But you know, it's kind of a fun movie. You could watch it really any time of year for some good laughs and just some entertainment. All right. So there you have Buddy the elf. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. All right, thanks guys.